Davis.
Yes, sir. How we doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're very stoked. So for context, one of me and Matt Lindsay's friends from high school, Matt Leto, who's kind of I've mentioned in podcast past, but he's kind of moving into our official producer. It's Matt Leto's brother-in-law, Davis Heller. He just recently finished playing baseball at Alabama. I got to ask before I get into this too. How do you like Matt Leto as your brother-in-law?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's awesome to actually have a brother now for the first time ever.
Oh yeah, you're only boy, right?
Yeah, 3 sisters. To match my sister's supportiveness, and he's as supportive, if not more supportive of me. So that's about as good as it gets right there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, he had nothing but great things to say about you because I was asking him a bunch of questions, and he was hype on you. So
yeah,
I got to see a little bit of, I think I caught the tail end of one of y'all's games during the SEC tournament, and I saw you in the dugout just going nuts. So
yeah,
I love that. I was like, I love this guy because he gets hype in the dugout.
yeah. I mean, I pride myself kind of just control what you can control and be the best at what you're doing.
I think that's great.
Kind of the role I was in this year, I didn't really get a ton of opportunities. And so I just took it upon myself to be the best teammate basically in the country. And kind of, if I'm going to do something, I want to be the best at it. So, I mean, that's kind of the role I took on this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. There's so much value in that too. Like, I played college baseball and I was a pitcher. I was a weekend starter. So, you get that one opportunity every 7 days or so. So the only other thing you can do is just be a heck of a teammate, and,
absolutely.
So I think that's so cool, but yeah, I love seeing that. I guess before we jump into that, I want to know, kind of about your background. You guys are you from San Diego originally?
Yeah. So I was born in San Diego. I lived there until I was 14. And then we moved to Colorado that would have been my 8th grade and freshman year. And then after that, we moved to Arizona for sophomore year until this year. And now my parents just recently moved to North Carolina.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that from your dad's work or mom's work?
Yeah, dad's work.
Okay. Yeah. How was that? That you said you moved in your sophomore year. How was that?
To Arizona?
Yeah.
That was cool. I loved Arizona. I met a ton of some of my lifelong best friends there. I mean, I had a great experience in Arizona, and I'll probably go back at some point, to live there at some point in my life, I had to guess.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's Gilbert in relation to Phoenix or anything else?
I mean, it's 20 minutes outside of Scottsdale.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly which direction, but it's right in the meat of the city.
Yeah.
It's not far from pretty much everything.
That's awesome. Probably some good baseball out there.
Oh yeah, a lot of good players from all ages. A lot of time of the year to play. All 12 months you can get on a baseball field, which is awesome.
That is awesome. Did you specialize, or did you play a lot of sports all through high school?
No, I only played baseball all 4 years.
Okay.
Just because I was fortunate enough I had started talking to schools my freshman year. So I was a 15-year-old basically.
Mm-hmm.
And once I knew I was going to kind of pursue college baseball, I didn't even want to mess around and get hurt playing football or basketball or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I was looking at your PG profile, and you were a pretty highly touted pitcher coming out of high school. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So was that, I guess you hit obviously too. Did you always play first and pitch? Is that what you did?
So long story short, I I committed to Oklahoma my sophomore year of high school.
Oh, wow.
So that was like September of my sophomore year. So I was just 16 years old. And I was committed there. I signed there as a senior in November. And then my senior season, right before the senior season started, I got what's called the yips, and I couldn't even play catch. And so it was kind of crazy. Like I was literally just a PO like all through high school. I hit for my high school team, but
Sure.
like I wouldn't hit in summer ball. So I'd pick up a bat in January and get ready for the high school season. But like I wasn't by any means a hitter. And then so my senior year, I couldn't pitch. Like I couldn't even play catch. So I was like, well, kind of going back to like the whole teammate thing, I was like, well, I'm gonna be the best first baseman I possibly can because I want to win.
Yeah.
And so I hit, and like I focused a lot on hitting. And then I went to summer ball, still going to go to Oklahoma as a pitcher. And I started talking to JUCOs because like I didn't talk to Oklahoma at all. Like it just kind of was weird. I didn't really have many conversations with them, if any. So I was like, all right, I might go to JUCO. And then they called me and just didn't work out. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to a junior college. And I asked the junior college, hey, can I hit when I come here? And they're like, yeah, for sure. We saw you hit in high school.
Yeah.
So then I started hitting there, and I turned out to be a pretty good hitter to where now I'm hitting in college baseball instead of pitching, which is interesting, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you don't mind, like, what was that process like in high school when you going through the yips? Because I feel like everybody kind of faces that differently, or it comes up differently. Looking back at it now, can you kind of hone in on like the things that caused those struggles?
Honestly, like, I mean, having conversations like with baseball players, I won't even say the word. Like, I'll just refer to it as the Y word.
Right.
But like for me, I mean, that's kind of like a part of my story now, to where I'm open to it. And like, it's almost like back then it was miserable. And like, if I could go back and like address it differently, I'd definitely be like more open to it and like accept that I had it, to where like back then I was like, nah, I don't have it. But like, I felt like if I would have just accepted it, I would have gotten out of it quicker almost.
Mm-hmm.
But like how I got it, I remember throwing a bullpen at Oklahoma camp in January, which I did for 3 years. I went out there sophomore, junior, and senior year, and I went and threw a bullpen at a camp, just kind of like work on some things. Like that way it was like legal. I would like pay for a camp, but like I would work with their pitching coach.
Sure.
So like I wouldn't necessarily work with them, but like I'd throw a pen in front of them. So like I was paying for the camp, like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. And I was throwing a bullpen in like 30-degree weather, and like it was a fine bullpen. It was my fingers, I couldn't really feel them, but like it was no big deal. I just changed some things. I came back and I threw the worst bullpen of my entire life. And like I couldn't throw a strike. And I was like, whoa, that was weird. Like that is not like me. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't really remember like the next coming days or anything, like how I was thinking. But like all of a sudden, one thing leading to the next, like all of a sudden I couldn't play catch. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? And so then it kind of just, the way that I actually like kind of got rid of it was I tried to pitch my senior year. And eventually I was like, I'm not going to go through my senior year without pitching. Like I got to at least try. Like, why not? And I pitched an inning, and it went horrible. And I came back in the dugout, and I punched a brick wall as hard as I could, and I broke my hand. And so I had to have surgery like a couple of days later. So that gave me a full-blown reset, like 3 weeks, no throwing, no anything, almost like a reset. Like you do not want to do that. Like you want to play. Like even if you're struggling, like you want to play. And like that kind of was like the step in the right direction, to where it was like at the time I was like, what did I just do? But like looking back, it was like one of the best things that happened to me, almost like a secret blessing.
Yeah. I mean, you had to shift your mindset at that point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of a ground zero moment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like when you went through, because you said you threw multiple bullpens throughout the years, was there something different about that last year where things seem more real, where maybe there was more pressure? It was going into your senior year? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Did you feel like maybe there was any expectation that was different from, because I don't know, I think we're kind of like, when we're younger, we're a little blissfully like, you've been playing ball your whole life and like, you just do your thing. And then it gets kind of more real the older we get, and I don't know, did you note anything like that in your experience?
Yeah. I mean, if I had the senior season I was hoping for, I would have had the opportunity to get selected in the draft as a high schooler.
Yeah.
So like that was in the back of my mind. But like I wouldn't say that was like the reason as to why it happened. It just kind of happens. Like it's unexplainable. And
right.
Like the guys who have gotten it just kind of they can't even explain it. And that's kind of like the same thing with me. Like I don't even know how it happened. It wasn't like I was like pressuring myself. Like I think I might have like overthought that one bullpen and been like, what the heck? Like this can't happen. But like I really don't know.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, have you had the opportunity, like I'm sure at Alabama they have this, but like have you been able to work with any like performance coaches or anything like that?
Like sports psychologists?
Yeah, sports psychologists, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Dr. McCabe once or twice, and he was a great dude. It was just like still in the whole COVID thing, so we like met over Zoom a few times, and it was like kind of different.
Yeah.
He's become a pretty big name in sports with baseball, football. I think he does a lot of golfers now too.
Yeah, he posts a lot on his Instagram about working with golfers.
Yeah.
Are you a golfer, Davis?
I like to golf. I play quite often. I wouldn't say I'm all that great. I'm not horrible, but I love to play.
It is fun. What you got,
Davis? I thought you brought up a good point earlier about kind of not acknowledging the yips when you were in the middle of it, and you wouldn't even say the word, and you would just say the Y word and stuff. And I think, that's like how probably a lot of people feel, right? And I think a lot of times if you treat it that way, you're honestly giving more power to it than it deserves, right? And so it's cool to hear you talk now about how you wish you would have been more open with it and stuff. And I think that's why a lot of people that have struggles, especially on the sports side, sports psychology side, I think a lot of times if they just open up and admit it, it takes away some of the power that has over your mind.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I don't like talking about it with some dudes because it like freaks them out so bad.
Sure.
That like I don't want it to consume them. But like if guys want to talk about it and like my experience, I'm more than open to talk about it. Like I'll talk about my experience and like how I can help them and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's great. I think it's up to us to take the experiences that we have. And I think when you don't want to talk about being a great teammate or just being a person who wants to serve others, we want to tell people about that or teach them what we've learned, and you share that. But you're right. Like, I'm sure there's guys that are like, I don't want to hear anything about that.
Oh yeah.
And I understand that, but yeah, I mean, I think that's so cool. And being able to like you said, it's become part of your story now and you can own it then, and then you can punch a brick wall and move forward, Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. So take us up through. So you did junior college ball and then you hit. And then, so Matt, this is what Matt Leto told me. He said, basically you came and visited Tuscaloosa and you're like, I'm moving here. Is that kind of like how that happened?
Yes. I mean, so I had my freshman year, that was a COVID year, and I was fully expecting to go back to junior college. And after I was going into summer ball, I was playing in San Diego, and I was having a good year, like a good summer, but I didn't know what to expect. Like I was just going to go back. Like I didn't know any different. And they canceled the following spring. So 2021 spring for junior college baseball in Arizona.
Oh, wow.
9 months in advance. And I was like, whoa, like I need somewhere to play.
Yeah.
So like I emailed a few schools. Alabama reached out to me, and I had visited there with my sister and Matt before. So I like knew a little bit about it, but I went on a visit and I was like, yeah, like this is where I'm going. Like this is sick.
That's so cool.
So,
Yeah. So where did you live the last 2 years when you were in Tuscaloosa?
I lived in a house just off campus. My first year I lived with one roommate. He was a teammate. And then this past year I lived with 3 teammates. Same house though.
Yeah. Matt, where was your old house? The one that you lived in with those boys?
We were on Parkview Drive, kind of off 15th Street, but not too far from the stadium. Okay. It's there's a bunch of old houses that I guess a lot of them now have been demolished and turned into like condos or duplexes.
I mean, everything seems like it's being turned into a condo.
Yeah, it's right there across from Central High School, off of 15th Street. So
cool.
How was your time in Tuscaloosa?
I mean, I absolutely loved Alabama. Like, I remember growing up, like being a big fan, and like, I'm like even more of a big fan of Alabama. Like, whatever sport it's going to be, I'll probably be a fan my whole entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll always be an Alabama football fan, basketball fan. I loved the teammates that I had there. Everyone just involved with the university, like whether it be a strength coach or like your nutritionist or your teachers or like anyone up and down, top to bottom, whole university is like so bought into the university. It's like nothing else matters but like the students or the athletes that they're working with, which I think is really cool just because like Tuscaloosa is Alabama. Like Tuscaloosa is not anything else besides the university, pretty much. So I thought it was like awesome just having the experience to work with so many people who were so bought in to like help me even when like I wasn't even like really worthy of all the love and like support they gave me, if that makes sense.
So did you going to Tuscaloosa and going to Alabama, were you alone? Like no other teammates people you knew, or did you know anybody that was there?
I knew one guy in the summer league I was playing with in San Diego. He was probably a big reason as to how I got there because they asked him like, yo, can this kid play at Alabama? Like, will he help us? And the guy was like, yeah, absolutely. His name was Jim Jarvis. He was our shortstop.
Okay.
And yeah, so he was like a big reason as to how I got there. So I knew him very briefly from playing against him, but I didn't know anybody else.
Yeah. You, I guess you would have had a shift in like the way you train too. I'm just thinking about going from, pitcher. Obviously you're a big dude. Like, wait, what do you weigh right now? You're 6'8", right?
Yeah, 6'8", like 245.
Like LeBron status. Yeah. So did you have to switch the way you trained? Like, have you gained weight since you started becoming a position player, or has it not changed that much?
Yeah. I mean, it's the way I train is definitely way different. Like pitching workouts and position player workouts. Like at Alabama, position players would lift in the morning, whereas pitchers would wait to lift until after practice.
Yeah.
Just because they have to throw first.
Right.
So when I showed up to Alabama as like a position player, like my upper body was far and away like one of the weakest, or if not the weakest, in the weight room for position players.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If you're an overhead thrower, I mean, they're doing good things with you, but they're going to be way more careful with you, with your shoulders, even like doing chest. Like, I feel like we never did even that, like too much chest as pitchers. And like, it's interesting because I have a copy of, do you have Nolan Ryan's pitching Bible? Did you ever have that book?
I don't think so.
So Nolan Ryan was like doing all this stuff that nobody else did, like in the 80s. He was doing like overhead press, a lot of different like shoulder movements that nobody was doing. And he was kind of doing it fearlessly, and he could throw the ball like 100 miles an hour. But even so, I would be curious to see like, a full-on, pitchers program now and see how much of that they actually like do. I'm sure everything is like free weighted, like dumbbells, and they probably very rarely put a barbell in their hands. But I don't know. Yeah, this just intrigues me a lot. So you said obviously with Alabama having so much resource, was that the best experience you'd ever had as far as resources with nutrition, your training, all that stuff?
Yeah, easily. No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's incredible. So what's your, I'm trying to think of, Matt, what's a good Tuscaloosa question to ask Davis? So Matt grew up there like fully 100% his whole life. I moved there. I lived there for 2 different stints. Once when I was like 9, 10, 11, and then when we were in high school.
Yeah. It was, Davis, what was your favorite spot to eat at there?
Oh, I would say, I mean, we ate at the dining hall a lot, so I didn't like eat out a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But like I did never have had a cookout before, and I'm a big cookout fan now.
Yeah, when they built Cookout, that was a big deal, a really big deal.
But where's the cookout?
It's off. I think it's off 15th Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Davis. Did you eat at Bryant Hall? Is that where you ate a lot?
No, we had an athlete like dining hall that was attached to Mount Moore.
Oh, that's
wow.
right. Yeah, that's new. Yeah, that's so
incredible.
my last year there, my last football season was 2012. Then I was there still in the spring of 13, but yeah, that did not exist when I was there. It was Bryant Hall back in the day, which was some of the best food you could get on campus. But I'm sure now with all the performance chefs and everything they have, I'm pretty sure it's a lot better now.
Yeah. I mean, we were extremely fortunate with how well the food was actually like prepared for us. Like it was top notch. There was no need to go anywhere else for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Another thing that's came a long way just over my life is the baseball stadium.
Oh yeah.
It's I mean, I used to think it was nice when I was a kid and would go, but then as you get older, you start seeing other stadiums and other ballparks, and they did a lot of stuff. I guess about 8 or 10 years ago, they did a lot of stuff to upgrade that, and it's become a good spot to watch a game for sure.
Yeah, the stadium is amazing. It's definitely one of the best like stadiums in the SEC. Unfortunately, like we just didn't perform as to like get packed out stadiums like everyone else.
Sure.
Which is like understandable. Like they want to see you win and be a top 25 team, which we had the talent to do, so we just didn't. Or we just ran into injuries or whatever it would have been. But I know for a fact that as soon as Alabama baseball is a top 25 team, the stadium will be sold out just because that's how it works with all the Tuscaloosa fans.
Oh, for sure.
So Davis, I grew up going to games there. And then I had a chance. I worked at South Carolina for 3 years, which obviously they've got just in the last 20 years, I guess they've got a pretty good baseball tradition there. Obviously, they were really, really good in the early 2000s. And I thought the games there were really cool. Then I got to be at Ole Miss the last 2 years, and I went to a few games. And oh my goodness, that place, the outfield, the student section there, just, I mean, they go hard in the paint. And so I guess that leads me to my next question. What was your favorite away ballpark to go to while you were at Alabama?
I would say probably the 3 that were the best were probably by far and away number 1's Mississippi State. I mean, we played.
Oh, that place is crazy.
We played there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and on Saturday, I want to say there was about 16,000 fans there, and they walked us off on Friday and Saturday. They both walked us off both days, and it was like so loud, and I was so mad. But I like looked around, I was like, there are so many people here.
Yeah,
and like that almost made me more mad that like so many fans just were like so happy to see us lose. But number 2 would probably be Tennessee. This year was sweet just because, I mean, they are so good as a team, just top to bottom. Their fans, their fans are interesting. They're probably the most like personal fans that it gets in the SEC. Other fans kind of just root against you, whereas like Tennessee fans can get very personal with family or girlfriends or whatever it is. And then 3 would be, I loved Arkansas, but we went there with the COVID year, so there was like fan restrictions. But Texas this year was sweet too. We went
Y'all
there
played
second
Texas?
week. Yeah, we played at Texas this year,
That's sick.
and
Yeah.
it was packed out, and it was bad weather, and the fans were still sweet.
Man, that's so cool. Yeah. So this is great. What I wanted to do is just geek out because I love college baseball. And I feel like we're in a moment right now where college baseball is at like a great place. And I don't know if it was like coming off of COVID or what it was, but like I've always loved, especially, like conference play leading into, region, super regional, and then going to Rosenblatt. I don't know. I just think it's so awesome. And one thing I've noticed too is like a lot of and Matt, you can attest this too, like being around when you were at Ole Miss and probably even South Carolina, but even like from the media side, like so many college baseball teams do such a good job now of like creating content around their teams. Like really awesome, like hype videos, anything, just like capturing all the moments like that. Yeah. Like the moment last year where that dude hit a grand slam at Tennessee was just like, I think, did that send them? Maybe they clinched a regional with that. I can't remember what it was.
That
But
was
it
the
was
opening game.
Oh, that was the opening game? Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was.
But I watch that clip sometimes when I'm just bored because I'm like, that is just, it's insanity. And so that's what I love about college baseball. And so I'm super jealous. Like you're in the middle of that right now. And I know like you're in a place, you're not sure exactly what your future will look like, but I just think, that that's really cool. And I think it's awesome to get to be a part of that. And what do you think, what are some of your favorite things about just like getting to do that? You said like the road trips. Did you overall, did you love being in the SEC? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah. So Thursday practices with all like the new places I got to experience were always fun. Like with the team, everyone's excited for a road series, and like you're taking BP on a new field under the lights. That was always fun. Obviously the weekends are fun, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with all the fans. Bus rides are fun. We were fortunate enough to go on some private planes, so we would drive up to the runway and hop on the plane, no security, and just kind of go. Yeah. And then the SC tournament is like second to none. Like that's one of the coolest experiences ever because we have so many fans who show up. Even in like the past 2 years when we weren't in the top half of the league, we were actually like 9 and 10 seed. And we had so many fans show up and like support us, which was super fun. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. What's your favorite? Cause I feel like within baseball, there's always a game within a game of like do you guys play a lot of 2-ball? What do you guys like to do messing around?
So, the pitchers more so do all that stuff.
Yeah. I see I was a pitcher. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. They would, do like flips like with the glove or like 2-ball or whatever. As hitters we really didn't get into too much like 2-ball or anything like that.
No fungo golf or anything like that?
Occasional fungo golf, just like on a random night that you're hanging around the field after you finish some homework or something like that.
Yeah. Are you kind of like a field rat? Like you just like to stay at the facility? Do you spend a lot of time like at the facility, or do you like to go home, or what do you like?
I spend a ton of time at the field. So like a normal day for me in the fall would be like I would wake up, go breakfast at the dining hall, go to the field until I had class, or like if I had a lift, I'd go to my lift first and then go to breakfast and then class. And then I'd go back to the dining hall for lunch, go to practice, and then I'd stay at the field until dinner, and I'd go eat dinner at the dining hall, come back to the field and do homework. And then by then it's like 9, 10 o'clock, and I'm either hanging out there playing like pool, ping pong or something like that, or I'm headed home and going to bed. So like there was really no other time to do anything besides that, and like that was okay. Like I could have done homework at home, but it was so much easier and like the peace and quiet, and like there was like team room where I could do homework.
Sure. Yeah. I would say, Matt, you would say too, like all that stuff's designed now to like, those guys are going to be there all day. Especially football too. I imagine their whole day is at the facility or around there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we as a football team, we were jealous of the facilities at Ole Miss because it was such a cool place just to hang out. Like Davis is talking about, like go there, work out, rehab, eat, do homework, like everything's right there, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But I think that's pretty consistent in baseball, right? Like you kind of want a good clubhouse to hang out because you do have a lot of downtime. Davis,
Yeah.
you mentioned something earlier about going on the away trips and everything. I think that is one thing that's cool with baseball because I've obviously worked in the football world where, we fly in on Friday night, we get there for dinner, so we have dinner, then we have a meeting, then we go to bed, then we get up the next morning, go to the stadium, play the game, and get out of there. So you don't really get to, obviously you enjoy the game day atmosphere, like some of the places in the SEC, it's a lot of fun to play at, but you don't get to experience the city, and you guys, you do these 3-day weekends and you probably get to experience a little bit more of the city and the campus and everything. And that's a pretty cool experience for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially this year. This year was a lot more like realistic compared to like last year. We were still dealing with the COVID restriction stuff and we were doing COVID tests all the time. But it was super cool. Like, if we would play like a Saturday day game at like 2:00, we would get dinner on our own, and like we would have like per diem money. So like we would go out and like walk around and like experience the town or whatever it may be. And like we would obviously have like 10:30 curfew. Like we weren't doing anything crazy, but like we were able to go out to dinner and like see where all these people were having their like college life. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's very cool. Yeah, the different venues around the country. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Another thing I love about college baseball, I think it's just different than anything else, is like so this year they're still playing now, but UT's the dude, the Hispanic Titanic, right? You know, they call that one guy.
Oh,
And then you got Tommy Tanks, the dude from NC State, which I saw where he just decided to transfer. I don't know if that means he's going somewhere. Okay.
Yeah,
which is interesting because he had like a fantastic year. And maybe he's just wanting to go maybe somewhere who's more equipped. I don't know. But yeah, so I think like college baseball in itself breeds characters like that. So what I'm saying is I want next year, at some point during the season next year, I want you to have a name. I don't know what it's going to be, but I feel like you can earn yourself a nickname next year. So I'll be looking for that.
Well, Davis, I mean, being the tall guy, I'm sure you've had some nicknames before. What are some of the nicknames you've had on different teams you've played on?
I mean, so my last year when I first got to Bama, they were kind of looking for a nickname for me, and they're like, "What do people call you?" I was like, "I mean, people call me like Dave. Like all my friends back home just call me Dave. Like it says Davis." And my mom hates that, and so they were like, "All right, let's find a new nickname." So one of our managers, Drew Guffey, one of the greatest human beings out there, he was like, "How about we just start calling you D Helly?" I was like, "All right, yeah, Davis Heller," and then it kind of developed into Deli instead because it just like ran together.
Yeah.
And then eventually that Deli turned to Deli Meat, and now like literally everyone just calls me Meat instead of Deli or anything like that. It's turned in all the way from Deli Meat to Meat, and then Meat Boy or anything along with meat. It's an interesting nickname that people don't believe the story, but I mean that's the honest truth.
Matt, you know what that makes me think of?
What?
Davis, do you like The Office? Did you ever get into The Office?
I never got into it.
There's the scene where Michael's like talking about Mr. Rogers. It's like the nickname. It's basically the same scenario where it was like he had a train of thought. He had one name and then it led to another name that led to another name until you're like 4 levels deep, and then finally you have the nickname. But that's basically I think I saw that somebody had commented on something on IG and called you Meat, and I was like, I wonder if that's his nickname.
If you look at my latest Instagram post, literally all the comments have like something to do with meat.
Just meat. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, Big Meat. I got you. Yeah. So I'll be looking for that then. That's what we'll look for.
I mean, there was a few of our boosters and the fans would call me like Big Cactus, but like that never really stuck because one of our other first basemen was called Big Country. So like I was called Big Cactus, but like that never was like a hit really.
Yeah, I like that. But yeah, I get it. Sometimes
Yeah,
they just
it's
don't. They
definitely
just don't
it's
latch on. Sometimes
yeah.
I like big cactus. So do you don't, I mean, you don't have to speak too candidly because I'm sure like you know these people by name and everything, but is there a team that y'all played or like who did you really like dislike? Obviously Tennessee's kind of put themselves apart where they like really kind of embrace being hated, but who did you like to see like that y'all would beat the most or want to beat the most?
I mean, there wasn't any like team other than like Auburn is always fun to beat.
Sure.
Obviously, like we walked them off twice at our place my
That's
first year
awesome.
there. And then they beat us twice this year, and we only played 2 games because of the rain. Tennessee's fun to beat, just like same with the rivalry. Beating them Friday night this year was cool, just because they were like the consensus number one. But like honestly, they're like I have a lot of respect for Tennessee. Like I
Yeah,
don't know if I'm allowed really to say that as an Alabama guy,
you can say
like,
that.
but I mean those guys, they are good in my opinion. The reason why they are so good is because they honestly do not care what anybody else thinks of them, and that's kind of just their personality. Like
Yeah,
they love that people don't like them, and that like fuels them because it'd be so easy for them as the most talented baseball team maybe in college baseball history to like let up or like
right.
have something slip away or this or that. And there's literally none of that. Like other than Kentucky this year, which was like a rainy, cold weekend, they didn't lose one series.
That's crazy.
And I think a lot of it has to do with like the fire that they've built and like so many people don't like them
Mm-hmm.
that like fuels them. And like I have a
Yeah,
lot of respect for that. But yeah,
yeah,
I wouldn't say there was like any teams that like I just hated like the way they went about things.
sure.
I mean, there was like players that like I just wasn't a fan of, but like that's going to be everywhere. There's probably people who don't like me too. So
Of course. They don't like that you're getting so excited in the dugout. They really
I
hate
know.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm hopefully next year they don't like me because how well I perform or something like
That
that.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, baseball's definitely shifted in the last few years. I remember I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago when even like something like all the unwritten rules are kind of like starting to kind of get broken and kind of starting to fade.
Yeah,
It was when I think it was like Tatis hit like a grand slam in the 8th inning or something like that of a game
yep,
that the Padres were winning by like a bunch of runs. And that kind of started more of that conversation of like, hey, there's a way to do things and there's a way to not do things. And I feel like a lot of those things are shifting. And like as a baseball person, like some of those things I like just because I think it makes the baseball unique. But in other things, it's like, I think we can do away with that and it's fine. It's not a
yeah,
big deal. I think it makes the game more fun or whatever. But that's the one thing I've noticed too is like even, giving an example like Tennessee is like I saw like a home run somebody hit and even like the first base coach did like a handshake with him as they like round first base. Like some
yeah,
hype, like, and that you would have never seen that even like, 3 or 4 years ago. And so, cause like in the coaches that I played for when I was in college, I just played like small NAIA baseball, but it was much more like, we had to shave and it was kind of like, we do things this way. And, we don't even like sometimes like some coaches are weird enough to be like, we don't wear sunglasses. We're not a sunglass team. Um,
yeah,
it's just kind of like their little unit to kind of shift and mold how they want. But it seems more so now and probably across all sports. It's like, in a way, you have to lead and still you're the coach, and you're leading the unit, but you're also trying to figure out what the personality of your team is. And I think for so long it was like the personality is going to fit the coach. We are
yeah,
this, but now it's like, no, we have this guy that brings this to the table. We have this other quirky guy over here that brings this. And it seems like they're doing a much better job of just kind of like letting it shape itself in a way.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's kind of like how you feel about it, or it's like you just really embrace all the differences that y'all have and, it works together in one unit, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's interesting like to see how certain things work for some teams. Like I remember like Tennessee is who they are, but then there's teams like A&M, like not mouthy at all really.
Right.
Like they kind of just like play baseball, and they're also a top 5 team in the country.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not like one thing fits all, which I think is really cool about college baseball. It's like, and college football, it's like you got to have a quarterback who can make plays, and you got to have a defense who can get stops, and this and this and this. Whereas like baseball, it's like you can have a few guys who can hit, and then guys who can pitch, and you can win, or you can have all hitters and no pitching, and you still win. So it's like, that's what's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, yeah, if you don't mind, me and Matt are both. It's funny. So it's like 2 episodes ago, we interviewed one of our friends, like Earl, that played volleyball at UNI. And Leto told us too, like your family's got some volleyball background too at UF Pacific, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
Your sister and your mom.
Yes, sir. My mom was a 2-time All-American. She was like a national. She was like they lost in the national championship, lost in the Final Four. And then my little sister is there now too. She just had her freshman year, and she was like freshman all-conference team. She'll probably be first team all-conference this year. Trying to break all my mom's records, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. So legacy. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I wanted to ask you. Anyway, Rachel, the girl that we were interviewing, we were kind of talking about portal stuff, and she graduated a few years ago. So it's really within the last 3 years, obviously, like the transfer portal. I feel like obviously football gets a lot of talk. You know, everybody's always talking about where this kid's going to go, but we're just curious to know, like, what's your experience been so far in doing that? And like, cause like I said, SEC tournament wrapped, you'll have the watch show. And then in like a few days after that, you were in the portal.
Yeah. I was in the portal day after the watch show ended. So I had known that I was going to leave for a little while. I wasn't going to like make it a big deal or anything, because I didn't want to like take away from the team or like be a distraction, or nobody knew except for maybe. But I mean, it's weird. Like I had like schools reaching out to me, and it's like with big difference, like the NIL thing, like it's a big deal for like the college football players and college basketball players. And then I'm sure like some of the college baseball players, like the Hispanic Titanic, like you talked about. For me, it's almost just like getting recruited as a high schooler again. But like I can't mess this one up, because I got 2 years old in 2 months, like starting university, and then I got 1 more year of eligibility after that if I don't sign like pro ball or anything, and then I'm done like with college. Like that's it. So it's similar to high school recruitment, but like now, like back then, it was like I talked to my family about it a lot. Not that I don't talk to my family now about it. It's a cool experience. I think it's good that you can have the one-time transfer, or like situations I wasn't getting opportunities suck. So there would be guys sitting in situations that they hate, but they don't want to sit out a year. So they're just going to continue to put themselves through something they hate. And then there goes their mental state, and then they become a worse player, and then their career is ruined just because they're in some situation they hate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And for you, like everything that I've seen too, it's like not like you it seems like you kept all bridges, and like you like Roll Tide forever. You said you're always gonna be, Bam at heart, and it's like you said, like you got a small window left, and you got to do what you need to do to like you want to play for the next couple of years.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So no, I think that's awesome. We definitely are like, I mean, we wish the best of luck for you. How much will like summer ball? So you're playing summer ball now in Macon for the Macon Bacon, right?
Yes, sir.
Which is just a great name, by the way. And wait, somebody said, do they play in the same league as the Bananas do, or is that?
Yeah, they do. We play them like twice a week. We play them tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. So.
Okay, that'll be awesome. So how much, like, I'm sure you already have relationships, or like the coaches that are like coaching you through the summer and stuff, or like, how will that look, being in the portal, playing summer ball? Do you kind of just do that, hoping to perform every day, and then someone approach you, or how will that go?
So some of the schools like had known me from like my junior college, and like, so my summer coach for the Macon Bacon is one of my assistant coaches from junior college.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's a good deal, because like he's already seen me play. So if schools reach out to him, he can like already like know like how I play and like what I can do and stuff like that. But I mean, obviously the summer it's a big summer because I got 12 ABs this year at Alabama. I
Right.
missed the whole fall because I was hurt. And then the year before that I got like 40 ABs.
Right.
So it's like I haven't had a ton of ABs in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously what I did like 2 years ago, like they're gonna remember, but it's like, am I the guy who I was 2-3 years ago, or am I the guy that didn't put up great numbers at Alabama, if that makes sense?
No, it makes total sense. Yeah. I mean, and you probably need the confidence being able to prove it to yourself too. And getting those opportunities is a big part of it.
Yeah, like I mean, I've like my confidence has like never really wavered in the fact that like I believe like I can play at the SEC level if given the right opportunities. But like obviously I gotta do it. Like whether I have the confidence or not doesn't change the fact whether I do it or not. So I know like that I'll be able to kind of get it done.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a great attitude to have, Davis. Well, I've got a couple of questions for you. We've asked, or I asked this to our last guest, but what is some advice that you would give to your younger self with the perspective that you have now?
As far as baseball or life or both?
Either or both. Yeah. Whatever's on your heart.
As far as like the baseball side of things, I would just tell myself that what I do my sophomore year of high school literally does not matter. Like obviously you want to produce and obviously you want to play well, but like once you get to the college level or the pro level, like literally no one cares what you did last month. So like, it's all about like what you can do now. So like there's guys who are in the big leagues who threw a baseball 75 miles an hour at 18 years old, and then they were throwing baseball 97 miles an hour at 22 years old. And it's just like everyone kind of grows and like matures at their own rate, and like no one can really predict that. So as long as you continue to just like work hard and like don't let your confidence waver and belief in yourself waver, like always, like you always have to step on the field believing like you're the best player on the field or you're better than this guy or else you're just already beat. Yeah. But like there's so many times and so much time to perform and get better that like there's no need to stress about what you're doing as a freshman in high school that's going to affect your career, when in reality all that matters is the day that you're on. As far as life, I would say the one thing that I feel like I've done a good job of and that I really like enjoy is like I haven't taken really any relationships for granted. Like I always kind of treat everyone like as a best friend, in my opinion. I feel like I do a good job of that. And like I feel like I've built tons of quality friendships that I'm going to have for the rest of my life with like tons of people. Like I honestly don't know how I'm going to come up with like a wedding list on like how many people I can invite. Right. Because like I feel like I've done a great job of like meeting so many great people, and like I've had the opportunity of doing that like that's one thing I just would not change. Like looking back on it is just like continue to be genuine to every person you encounter, because there's just like so many people that are like can give you the exact same genuine back, even if their personalities are completely different.
Yeah. Well, and so what that tells me too is like through your journey, you're not just viewing people as like a commodity or like a stepping stone to get to, oh, like you can help me get to where I want to go. And like sometimes there'll be situations, obviously you have people who are training you, coaching you, they're wanting to help you get where you want to go on top of the relationship you already have. But for you to be able to look back and say, I can't even make a list because I have so many of these genuine relationships. That means you're actually like trying to be present and pursue those relationships for the sake of what they are, and not just like what you can get out of it, which I think is incredible. And also you mentioned, did you just use that as an example, a wedding list? Or are you like about to get married?
No, I mean, that was just an example. I'm a long ways away from getting married.
Okay. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Married to the game right now.
Yeah, that's right.
I get it. That's cool. I'm trying to think. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with us. And Matt too, did you learn enough about baseball in this call today, Matt?
Oh yeah. No, this is super interesting. Davis, I'll admit I'm not the biggest baseball guy, but yeah, I kind of enjoyed hearing you and Harry talk back and forth about baseball. Gave Harry a chance to talk about baseball. He didn't always get to talk about baseball with me. So no, it's pretty cool. Davis, I think you got a really good perspective on things. And, you mentioned relationships, and I think that's huge. That's key, right? You've played at different high schools. You've played at junior college. You played at Alabama. Now you're looking for your next home. I'm sure you made a lot of friends and teammates through summer ball and things like that. So I think that's really cool. And I think it's a good perspective for somebody of your age to have right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, first off, thank you for having me on. I mean, it was a great time. I definitely learned some things from you guys, even if whether it was questions or whatever, just how to think through some things. But yeah, I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, of course. Cool. So, well, when we think about you, obviously we hope you have a great summer. I'm going to be keeping track too, because it sounds like y'all got a lot of games. How many games do you know? Do you know how many it is total?
I think it's like 54 regular season games.
Wow. I mean, so it's basically another full college season over the summer. That's awesome. Yeah, dude. Well, I hope you get so many reps. And I hope that it's really like fruitful for you. And I'll be in touch with, I'll text you periodically, but also be in touch with Matt too. He'll be updating me, but yeah, man. So good luck with all that. I think I think great things are ahead of you, regardless. And, like you said, like keep leaning into that, being genuine and the hard work too. Like I feel like for me, whenever I'm going through any kind of change or rut, one thing that that you can control is how hard you work. And I'm sure like you feel that way too.
Yeah.
And that's just something you can always come back to, is like you have the ability to control the fact that you work hard too. And people recognize that, if the right people will recognize that. So anyway, best of luck to you. Thanks for getting on this call. Enjoy the rest of your road trip and enjoy all the things that Macon, Georgia has to offer too.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it.
All right, bro. We'll talk to you later.
All right, Davis, take care.
Y'all have a good one.
See you.
Right, see ya.
See you.